Oh boy. You knew I had to come and talk about this one. Believe me, I had already marked this game down as a L in my last video, but I promise you, I didn't imagine the Packers playing their worst game of the season here. I swear, I didn't see that coming. And funny enough, this is what happened last year. Remember last season? We played the Lions at home and was trash in that game as well. I mean, what is it about playing the Lions at home that the Green Bay Packers just cannot come out and play efficient? I don't get it, and I don't like it. Are they scared? Is that it? Do they just not have what it takes to just actually play well against good football teams? Like, what is the mental process that goes on before they go out there that just causes them to just stink the bed as much as they did yesterday? I mean, if you want to see a team self-destruct in HD, then go and don't watch that football game yesterday. That was about as good as a self-destruction game as it gets. There's no excuse. Zero excuse. This team doesn't belong on the same field as the Lions. There's about as complete team as it gets. We're the opposite. I mean, Jared Goff, he goes out there, plays very efficient, completing most of his passes, not forcing anything, taking what's there. Just play good, mistake-free football. Then you turn around and look at us, and we play the exact opposite. It's funny how football analysis, they always say how the weather and field conditions in Lambeau would affect the opposing team, yet the only team that seems to always be affected by it is us. I mean, Lambeau Field is just not a field that opposing teams are afraid to step on anymore. That mystique died a long time ago, well before Jordan Love took over as a starter. Hell, even before Aaron Rodgers took over as a starter. This goes all the way back to when Brett Favre was still our starter. Nobody's scared to come into Lambeau anymore. And when you come into Lambeau under these bad weather conditions, the only team that seems to be affected by it is just us. You watch the Lions; they play better. They look like they were the outdoor team, not us. And this happens all the time. We look like we were the team that plays in the dome, and we're not used to playing outside in bad weather. Just awful. Just awful, man. The Packers 6 or 7 drop passes in this game. There's an argument that some of those throws by Jordan Love could have been better, but these guys left their hands at home. A lot of drops came in crucial times when we needed to extend the drive. The Packers were 3 of 12 on third downs. They had a fair number of pre-snap penalties. I mean, I'm laughing as I'm talking. Like it's the game was just so bad that it's hard to even be upset. This is just who the Packers are. It's really hard to be upset with this team because this is just who they are. The Green Bay Packers offense was so bad in this game that even after the refs gave them 30 free yards, they still couldn't pick up a single first down. Right after that personal foul penalty and then another unsportsmanlike conduct on Branch, who eventually got ejected, the first thing they do is commit a false start. So the refs hand gift you 30 yards and then you immediately lose 5 yards right after that. This team is a mess. This team is an absolute fucking mess. They simply cannot take advantage of opportunities and left so many points off the board. And we opened the game running down the Lions' throat and eventually got away from it as usual, which again is one of my biggest problems with this football team. We were running all over the Lions defense. And Matt LaFleur, like he always does, just stops running the football and starts throwing it, leading to mistakes. All the Packers had to do was play mistake-free football and execute in the red zone, and they maybe win this football game. When the offense gets it together, when the offense is playing good, there's no team in the league that can stop them. And I truly believe that. When the offense is actually efficient and playing to our strengths, there's no team in football that can stop us. But all they do, like they've done all season long, time and time again, is simply stop themselves and kick themselves in the foot every time.
outgaining the Lions in yards, which ultimately that meant absolutely nothing. At the end of the day, it meant absolutely nothing because we still lost. So I don't even want to really make that a mute point. But the point is, when the Packers offense is actually rolling, there's no team in this league that can stop us. And we were running all over them to start the game. And then we get all the way down into the red zone. And once again, the red zone wolves rears his ugly head and we can't come away with a touchdown. Instead, we had to settle for a field goal. One of the worst offenses in the league in the red zone. We were 1 for 4. We went 1 for 4 in the red zone. We started the game again with that long drive that took half the quarter. And instead of coming away with a touchdown to really put pressure on the Lions offense, we settled for a field goal. When I saw that, I knew right there we would not win this football game. Right there, I knew we were not going to win. Right there. That pretty much told you how this game was going to go. Jordan Love did not have a good game. You could tell his groin injury was bothering him, and he simply could not. He simply couldn't be very mobile. And honestly, I'm just going to say it. He never should even played this football game. I'm sorry if you're going. I'm sorry that I'm going to the extreme here, but I really believe that the Packers should have just set Jordan Love this game and started Malik Willis. It was going to be an L either way, but at least Malik Willis is healthy and would have been more mobile in the pocket. And I liked our chances starting him over Jordan Love in this game because his mobility would have been more helpful in the run offense like it was the first two games that he started this season. Because the Lions run defense really isn't good, but the problem is the Lions offense is so good and can put up points so fast in a hurry that teams can't lean on their run game because they're now playing from behind. Oh boy. But the fact is we had no chance this football game with Jordan Love, clearly not 100%. Love was having trouble with the snaps. He fumbled a couple times. He threw another atrocious pick six. I mean, this guy's decision making when he's under pressure is literally the worst thing about his game right now. When things fall apart around Jordan Love, he just goes down with it. And I agree with Tom Brady's commentary about some of his decision making, and not only just with him, but with a lot of young quarterbacks in this league right now as far as decision making. Sometimes those are the things that separates the really good quarterbacks from just average quarterbacks or even mediocre quarterbacks. Jordan Love can just go out there and just throw some really good throws on the rhythm, and then all of a sudden his brain would just completely shut off, and he'll just make just an absolute boneheaded play. I mean, I didn't think he could throw. He can turn the ball over in a more worse way than what he did against the Rams. But he just outdid himself even now in this game. Just throw the ball away. There's nothing left. Just throw the ball away. Get the ball out of your hands. Oh hell, even take the sack. I mean, taking the sack would have been a lot more better than turning the ball over. Especially when we were only down 10-3 at the time. You don't need to force it. So right now, that's my biggest problem with Jordan Love. His decision making under pressure is awful, and he needs to get better at it. Period. He needs to clean it up. I'm sorry, he needs to clean it up. This guy's thrown an interception in every game that he started this season. He's missed 2 games and yet leads the league in interceptions. But like I said, man, Jordan Love clearly was not 100%, man. So he never, in my opinion, should never been on that field to begin with. They should have set him this game and just used those 2 or 3 weeks to let him heal from this groin injury so he can be better and be obviously more closer to 100% to help us win these football games, because he clearly was not it. I liked our chances more in this football game with Malik Willis on the center. That's just my opinion. Might be some Packers fans that won't agree with that, but that's just me. And look, I'm not sitting here trying to blame everything on Jordan Love. The football is a team sport, so I'm not trying to say it's all his fault. But as I said, his decision making is just finally hurt us. It finally hurt us big time. Usually he'll make up for it by throwing a couple of good throws and a couple of touchdowns, and we'll walk away with a win. But not this time. This time it lost us the football game. After he threw that pick six, the game was over. The game was over. After he threw that pick six, the game was over. There was no hope that this offense was ever going to get it together. The defense was banged up. Missing Jair Alexander again. I mean, I really just hope that the Packers this offseason, come next draft, really invest and draft a couple of corners next year, because Jair is just too injury prone and just cannot be relied on anymore as far as his availability. When he's out there, it's great to have him out there, but he misses too many games every season. He's just too injury prone. We were also missing Evan Williams, and I was pretty much convinced that he definitely wasn't going to play. But the bright side is that the defense only gave up 17 points. But then again, I don't really consider that really a bright side, because I'm gonna say it's not really a bright side, because the defense might have only gave up 17 points, but it's only because the Lions stopped trying. After the Lions came out in the second half and they went up 24-3, the game was finished. They knew they knew that we were not going to come back in this football game. So they purposely took their foot off the gas and just focused on draining the clock. So I don't want to be negative towards the defense. They didn't have a bad game, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to praise them either. The Lions just simply stopped trying. They knew it was a wrap. After they went up 24-3, they knew the game was a wrap. So they stopped trying. The game was over. They knew they didn't need to have to go out there and score another 40 points in order to win this football game. That's how bad the Packers are playing. That is literally just how bad the Packers are playing. The Lions didn't even have to try anymore. That was it. So I got nothing else, man. I got nothing else. This team never shows up when it matters. They can go out and beat up on worse teams like the Colts and the Titans and Cardinals, but then lose to good teams like the Vikings and the Lions, barely escape all right teams like the Texans, and almost choked against a lesser team in the Jaguars last week. So there you go, man. So now we just go into our bye week with a 6-3 record, having lost 2 division games at home. Both games we played terrible football. It's a wrap, man. We're not winning the division. Green Bay is now only just now from this point, from starting now all the way to the end of the season. We're just simply competing for a wild card spot. They're not winning the division. The Lions, on the other hand, they're out there competing for a Super Bowl. All right, the Lions are actually about as a complete team as it gets. They're actually out there trying to compete for a Super Bowl, and we're just a simple, small, minor pebble in the road. This team will never be a Super Bowl caliber team playing undisciplined football, self-destructing against tough opponents. They don't belong. I don't care how many bad teams they go out there and beat up. It means nothing when a division opponent can walk onto your field and play better in rainy weather than you. A division opponent who plays in domes goes out there and it doesn't affect them whatsoever. They still play good football and you just play absolute fucking shit. So, at the end of the day, we know that the NFL season isn't long, and it's time to just accept the fact that this is just who the Packers are. We are just a young, undisciplined team that self-destructs in crucial situations. 6-3 record might keep optimism and not panic, but it's enough to know what we are and where we are as a unit. This is just who Green Bay is. It might get better towards the end of the season, but don't expect all the problems to go away. Some of it is just going to be there to stay. This is just who the Packers are, plain and simple. So right now, let's just go into the bye week and heal up and just get ready for the Bears in 2 weeks. And that's all. Peace.